Okay, there we go. Okay, guys, so welcome to Own Your Happy. Today I am interviewing my podcast buddy, which is kind of different that we've never interviewed each other in this capacity at all. And Melanie Dawn is, how do you even explain what you do? I shouldn't even put words in there. I should have checked with you.
That's okay. It's kind of evolving in nature. Right now, I would classify myself as an Intuit, but
yeah, that was my first word too. So
yeah.
good.
But prior, I had always refused the title medium. A lot of clients will refer to you as that. But that's actually been stepping into my sessions a lot lately. So I am embracing that. If you look on my Instagram, it says medium in brackets ish.
Love it. That is so perfect.
Yeah, so don't count on it. But
it's kind of like saying you're in a relationship on Facebook when you actually put it in your bio on Instagram. It's very similar. It's like, okay, I'm fully embracing this side for now.
Yeah, it's a big step.
That is a big step. I love it. And so what do you do? What do you do?
There's a few different, so let's, right now, currently, I'm seeing clients one-on-one, and I'm also coaching clients one-on-one. I'm not doing any group coaching right now. Prior to getting into coaching, had been teaching yoga and seeing clients one-on-one. And through the pathway of yoga nidra, I really found that limiting beliefs are what drives us. And I've made best friends with my limiting belief.
Oh yeah.
You know how people are always talking about destroying or uprooting, and I've been one of those people. I'm that person. Yeah. But you need to learn how to work with it and see where it shows up.
And you're never going to be limiting belief free. Let's just
biggest
bust that right now. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Embrace it as like this beautiful teaching tool.
That is.
And so when I saw that these, like my clients who are such lovely beings would come and be so open, that belief system is truly what is impacting the energy field. And once you can start to shift and work with that, that's where I came to coaching. Mm-hmm. And so through working one-on-one with clients, we could only get so far in one session. And then I created a program called Heart Map, which was 3 back-to-back sessions every month. And we saw in that group that there was huge transformation. Mm-hmm. And so then that brought me to the coaching realm.
It's so exciting when you start to see that, right?
Yeah, it was really cool.
It is. It's like it was like once I started to see shifts happen for people, it was like an addiction of I can never not do this with people. Like I have to, it's always been who I am. And I'm sure that's been a part of you all the time anyways too.
Well, I was probably the one that needed the shifts.
Oh, yes. Let's go back to that. So what led you to yoga?
Oh gosh. Okay. So, I truly like right now I'm creating online programs to, build a stronger, more trusting relationship with your intuition. Cause we all have it, but the majority of us end up looking back and going, should have listened. I want to alleviate that for people. So I want them to be able to empower themselves with this like Loctite intuition. I've known energy and always like I've been a feeler for a long time since like I remember vividly grade 1 having my first experience with it. And then my belief system led me down a road where I got in a relationship that was incredibly, incredibly awful, soul crushing. Like, you just can't believe that someone could actually do the things that this person would do. And when that ended, I was like, okay, obviously life is off the tracks. We need to get this train back on the tracks. And yoga has always been, since the boys were little, I found sleep through yoga. Yeah. That was kind of where I found myself to be able to unwind enough to get some sleep. And I was like, I'll go back there and I'll spend every day. I literally drove 30 minutes to the city every day to do a yoga class to cry and be like, and I lost my job right before that. Like the universe was, wake up, child. So I lost my job before that. So I had a lot of time. And I was going 30 minutes driving in, and I was like on the mat saying, what do I do from here? Where do I go? And then I was like, well, I don't want to do something I don't love, because I did that. And this was the path. This is what opened the door. And then I got into being like a drop-in yoga teacher, just teaching physical asana. But I've always been huge on the philosophy. I love the philosophy. I'm not a philosophy teacher, but I would talk about it for days with you. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, because I'm very competitive. Where's my niche? How do I get to be the best yoga teacher in Okotoks? Yeah. Where's my niche? And I was like, looked around and I'm like, okay, not a lot of yoga nidras being offered. So I was like, well, I'll do one and then I'll go take the training. So I took a yoga nidra class and then I took the training, and I was like, you know, the universe just opens doors for you, and you don't have to be. I think a lot of what holds us back from becoming a teacher of something is that we haven't ever looked into it before. But if it's your calling, it's your calling. Every cell in your being remembers this teaching. Yes. And so that was like sitting in that training, I really broke through my belief system that weekend. Yeah. Can I tell you the story about it?
Yeah, please. Like how I'm like getting in closer to you.
Yeah. So this
I'd like to know.
Quite personal. This is a very personal thing, but to me, it's just like, if you think that belief systems are hooey, you need to hear this. As a yoga teacher, I was mentored quite intensively by the owner, and she tried so hard to get me to get rid of my yoga teacher voice. And I was like, that's what yoga teachers do. And in my head, I was like so resistant to it. And she's like, give me directions. And I'd give her directions. And she's like, use that voice. And I'm like, I can't. Once I go in the studio, I get this voice. And after the yoga nidra training, her name's Tanis Fishman. She's a genius, a mystic, and an amazing all-around cool person. Yeah. She does this thing with, I don't know, they're sticks. And so she uncovers your limiting belief, which is like, I can do that without the sticks, but I need someone to do it with sticks for me. Yeah. And so she uncovered that I did not believe that I was worthy. Mm-hmm. And working with that, and it actually came out in the language of I am valued, would be my sankalpa, which is like the opposite of your limiting belief. So I started working with that. In the training, we had at least three yoga nidra sessions through the day. And in there, you take your body to this place where it's like really absorbent. It wants to learn. It wants to relearn what it already has lost. And you drop this sankalpa in there. And after a weekend of this, my mom, I was staying in the city with her, and me and my mom have a great relationship, but we've often struggled with my voice, being that I can sound a lot like my dad, and my parents got a divorce. Yeah. And so my mom had just lost her partner, and she was going through a hard time. I was staying there. She woke up and she was like really visibly upset. And I was like, what can I do? How can I help you? You know, like I thought that I was trying to help, but her perception was the opposite. Yeah. And so then we got in a fight, and my mom, this is very personal for her. She's a great, wonderful lady, but we had a thing. And she said, when you're ready for me in your life, let me know. And after that weekend, I was like, no, because she was like, change your tone, change your voice. I said, when you're ready for me and my voice, let me know. Yeah. And then from that point forward, everything shifted for us. Like, it was like, I was finally accepting that I had this voice that was my father's. Yep. I had a tone that was my father's. And this was the most profound realization for me. I taught Monday nights. I went in, taught my class, and I heard the students in the hallway say, what the HE double hockey sticks happened to her voice. She found it. And never did the yoga voice again. And like, and honestly, like, I'm still a work in progress, but I see my belief system and I'm like, oh girl, I love you. I see where this comes from, but you know, you just work with it so well when you make friends with it and you see it.
Yes, like, you have to honor it and accept it. Like, once we can accept every part of us, I think shifts happen there, period, because it's not about being perfect or being egoless or being without self-doubt. It's truly just accepting that it's like, okay, I had those thoughts. How can I honor myself in that place and move
Even
on?
seeing the thoughts.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Half
Like
of
being
it.
able to separate that dialogue that's existing inside of here that we think is happening out there, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's here.
Yeah.
And so to get to like what I do in here, when clients come, I've created, the universe has served me so well in creating this like armory of tools, because I've always been the Intuit. I've been doing that since 2012 and only teaching yoga since 2016. But
Okay.
if you ask my beginning clients who I am then to who I am now, and the evolution is continuing,
Yeah.
but it's like hands down so different.
Yeah.
I always knew, but I didn't want, like, if something came up where I was like, no, dude, that's you. Like, I wouldn't have had the guts to say that.
Yeah.
And now when we have those revelations and we see like, hey, here's like your part in this, and this is what like, and even how I call it the universe. Some people call it the guides, but the universe just sends me downloads,
Yeah.
and I'm able to equip you with like, people aren't um they aren't rejecting things from the universe. If they're going to reject it, I don't get the message. So all the stuff, this is just how I've come to trust all the stuff, whether it's like, I've asked people, there's trauma here, this age, and there it's bad trauma.
Yeah.
We let it go. Like, I would have been scared to talk about that stuff before. I would have been scared to bring that up. And now it's like, I just trust the universe so much that what it gives me, this person needs to hear in this moment. I've had one client leave here, and only one, but a continual regular. He was in an abusive relationship,
Yeah.
and it like, I couldn't not share that message with him. I said after he left, in my head, I said, he's never coming back.
Yeah.
But he records our sessions, and he listened, and he came back, and he said, I was really mad. And I was like, I know. But it was huge. It was needed. Huge transformations come
Don't
from.
you think that was the next step of you finding your voice on a new level? Because it was like you were trusting your voice, even though
That
you
was a big one.
had all this info for years coming through, but being able to share it with people when you know it's going to make them uncomfortable. As a human, we don't really want to make people uncomfortable, right?
Myself. Yeah. If I'm just worrying about one person, I don't want to be uncomfortable either. But it's not. It never ends up like, even in that moment, I was just driven, and obviously so was my client, to move past this
Yeah.
despite the time needed to absorb it.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
It really was. Yeah. There's so many moments like that where you just like, I just say in my head, I'm like, all righty, we're going for it. And we go for it. And it's just beautiful all the way around. It's just a beautiful experience for me and for them.
Yeah, it truly is. I love that. And I trust too, and have you always been this way, that the people that are meant to be with you, that are meant to come to you as clients, they're there for a reason. Like they are there to hear those things, even if they're not necessarily pleasant or comfortable in the moment, or that they might hurt a little bit. But like that's why they're there. That's why they were drawn to you. That's why they're at your space at that time.
I just like, I'll usually get a download before a client comes, unless I'm like being crazy busy, but oftentimes before a client comes, I open the doorway, I let them in already energetically, and I'll get a download. And as soon as they arrive, it's like we've already met. There is the even if you don't know me, we're hugging at the beginning and at the end. Like we just know each other. And I'm very open with my clients. Like I let them know, like, they cry, I cry. Like, I can feel everything that their body is feeling. And
Mhm.
so if you're crying, you're not alone. I'll be there with you.
Yes.
And
And
yeah, we both just shed that.
it's also important because I'm newer to the spiritual intuitive world, newer of accepting it. I've always had a fascination and a curiosity about it, but been like, that's not real. That's
Mm,
just made up over there, and very much a
yeah.
skeptic about all of it. And I'm not as much this way anymore, but it still bubbles up for me. But I really like to see the proof of things and know that
Yeah.
it's real before I will trust it. And so with you, you always do it in such a beautiful way that like every connection with you is always a deeper intentional connection. And it's not like, I don't know, I've had some people in the past that have been a little bit nasty or a little bit, I
Mm,
think sometimes in this world there's good and bad as well. And so I think it's important for people to just not grip onto psychics or mediumship or whatever that looks like, but like just trust yourself of who you're attracted to.
absolutely. And
Yes.
whoever you choose as your guide, I educate my clients. So
Yes.
I say, you understand this? Yes. And so I make sure that they understand where this is coming from and that it is a collaborative effort. And
Yes.
I actually just had a client that said, I love that this was a conversation, that like they never once felt like something was being done to them. It
Yes,
was,
that's a great way to put it.
yeah.
A few times that I've done certain things with certain
Yeah,
people.
like where they're just like poking in your stuff.
Yeah. And I was like,
Get
I like wanted to be like, get out, get out. I didn't know what that meant yet, but it was like, get out of here. I don't know. Not safe, not safe. All the red flags going
Absolutely.
off. Yeah.
And yeah, I think the nice thing about me is I don't just sense your energy, I get right in it. And it's like, even if you've done something so horrible and you're so ashamed of it, I understand all of what led you there. Like, I get it. I can feel it. I can feel your pain around it. And it's like, you're not alone in it. And I think that that's the biggest thing that clients say, is that they just don't feel alone anymore in
Yeah.
their own stuff. And we aren't. We all have access to this vibration that you should be educating yourself to your own intuition, because you shouldn't ever be relying on sticks or outside sources. There should be, these
Yeah.
are just like, even tarot, this is just your science or your proof, right? Like, you
Exactly.
science or proof, but this is like where you get your degree from. I pull cards, I see cards. Those are the truth. You're the truth.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it. That's like,
And don't you think it's about coming to a place that they, well, you do, because that's what your new program's about, is trusting that truth as your,
yeah,
and I think
this
we
one's
get
just like
so muddled out
yeah.
there with all of the things, and we find so little stillness up here that we
Mhm.
don't even know what's ours up there. It's really about figuring what is your truth inside of you. Like I always go back
You
to
nailed
this.
it, Jen. You nailed it. It's about finding stillness, and it's about knowing who you are before you go and try to figure out who other people are.
Yes.
So this beginning program is all you focused.
Yeah.
It's getting you to trust your intuition. And uh, how did I get in a relationship like what I got into if I have this great intuition?
Yes.
That held me back for a long time. And I'll tell you, the God's honest truth is, I have a bias. I get to choose what I believe and what I don't. So
Yes. I love it.
if my heart tells me one thing that's the truth, my mind can override that and steer me in a different direction. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to matters of the heart, I am not as accurate as I am with your energy.
Yes.
It just, the two just fight. They're just like, I'm right,
Absolutely.
you're right.
It's
Yeah.
so much easier. And because we're in a similar, like the same industry, but different ways that we go about it, we can see blind spots in other people that they can't see because of that bias that we have within
We
ourselves.
have an outcome.
We
Like,
do.
as human beings with
Yeah.
egos, we have an expectation of an outcome. And a lot of times we'll do anything to meet it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even
Okay, go
over.
on. Sorry.
Yeah. And you know what happened to me when I was in that terrible relationship? I had a sore throat, and I'm not a sick person at all. I had a sore throat for over 3 months. 3 months. I was like, what's going on? Laryngitis, strep throat. I kept going to the hospital or the doctor. And you know what it was? My throat chakra being strangled, because I knew that the SIHIT that was being shoved down my throat was what it was. But
Yes.
it was told to me that it was truth, and berated into me that it was truth. So I accepted it, and my body rejected it. With
Yes.
every ounce of its being, my body said no.
Which is just so amazing. And we'll do a podcast episode, I think, more
Yeah.
on that. We've touched on it in our book one about You Can Heal Your Life, but
Yes.
all the ailments are just so fascinating of what's going on inside your body, because we haven't even talked about that you are a Reiki master on top
Yeah.
of it.
Yes, and I do trainings, and this is where the beauty of the trainings that I offer are done very differently, because I have the ability. So the last training that we did, we had too many girls in it, so it's going to be we all had the worst headaches. Our crown chakras are open. We're just
Too much energy floating around in there.
Oh Lord. Yeah. So I have them actively do energy work on each other. And this is where the intuition comes. So I mentor them into their intuition, because I can feel what they can feel, and I can feel what their client can feel. So if I know that they're picking up what their client's picking up, but they think it's too crazy to say, I'm like, tell me what you're thinking. And then they'll say it. And then the client will go, oh my God, that's this. And so, it's a beautiful, I just love it. Like, that's my favorite part, is the hands-on, is teaching them, because I can feel like, I don't know, why would the ocean come up? We're in Alberta, we're landlocked. Tell her about it. Oh my God, I grew up by the ocean. That's where I want to live. Like,
Yes.
so it's so cool to see. And if you weren't collaborative with me, our conversation would be really boring, because like, it comes from our conversation where the sessions go. So if you're not a talker, don't choose me.
I think that is powerful, because I've worked with people in the past that aren't ready to open up, and I've never looked at it as like an energetic standpoint necessarily, but if they're not ready to uncover anything that's going on in there, we can't help them.
No,
So, with people not being able to talk.
it's an important part of their journey to be where they are at that.
Yes.
Yeah. So they need to be there and
Yeah.
work their way out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't force this
We
on
can't. Force is the word that came to my mind too, of, I find, I don't know if you've seen this. In the very beginning, I had a lot of people that would almost expect, hey, Brian.
Is he playing trucks?
Lego.
Okay. It sounded like something very boyish.
Thank you. This mom COVID life
Yeah.
is what that is. And I was like, of course you can play Lego in here quietly, as long as you don't talk. And I forgot about the digging feeling.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people go to coaching thinking that coaches will fix them.
Yes. Do the work.
Yeah, and it's not about that. It's all about the tools, right? And I think you helping people tap in further to their own intuition is really giving them, it's like the super tool. It's like the multi tool that does all the things if you allow it to. And
It really does.
yeah.
And then they see that they aren't powerless, right? Like, that there is something innate in them, which is what we're accessing. We're uneducating, we're deconditioning, we're accessing what we were born with, these gifts.
Exactly.
What do you read? Think and Grow Rich, like Bob Proctor. Everything that he talks about is what we did as children.
Yeah.
I had a make-believe house, I had a make-believe husband, I had a make-believe car. And like, all of that stuff was so real to me. I harnessed the visualization. Like, we are so naturally gifted. And then like, oh, that's weird. You need to have it in reality in order to feel like you have it. Well, no, my mind says differently, right?
And do you think too, I think a big piece for us, as the older we get, the more we have some negative experiences around money or job loss, for example, you know, all these things happen in life that we experience. And so then we start to lose that imagination piece because it's not real.
Yeah.
Because what we've seen as real isn't necessarily positive, and we have such an attachment emotionally to it.
We're just running our parents' programs.
We are, and they're running their parents, and they're
Yeah.
running their parents. Yeah. And so, like, if you go back to the depression, have you seen that? There was a post floating around, I should have saved it, about somebody if they were born in 1900 and what they would have seen in their lifetime till 1975 between, you know, First, Second World War, Civil War, Vietnam War, the Spanish flu. Oh, there was like a dozen things listed, and all of the sadness and traumatic experiences they would have been through. It makes sense that we have some of that trapped in us a little bit, right?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
These horrible
we're DNA spawned from their DNA. Like it's all, and cells have memory. Cells, they're living things. So why would we think that they didn't come with a story?
I know, but we do till we don't. But we do till we don't.
We gather awareness, right? That it's awareness. That's the biggest piece of accessing your intuition. Is, you said it earlier, get still. Stillness, opening the heart and the crown, and being able to become aware. So when you open the crown, you can see yourself from a detachment is truly, and it sounds very clinical, but it's not. It's very beautiful to detach from self and see things from a macro picture instead of a micro picture. And was it you did this? I remember it was very powerful. You were at Studio Me, and you were in the elephant, and you just it was the most bland vanilla part of the elephant, and then you pulled back, and there was this beautiful decorated powerful being, and that was like, I was like, yeah, that's it.
It is though, right?
You can only see, and stress narrows our scope even more. And then if you can detach from that state of stress and be able to see what are the gifts of this, and maybe there are not great gifts, but there is something. There's
always something. And I truly believe sometimes we don't even know how great the gift is.
And when I say maybe it's not great gifts, maybe it doesn't look like
feel good. Maybe it doesn't feel good at the time to go through it, right? Like not everything can be
like trauma, loss, all that stuff. But it strengthens your heart. There's a resiliency that builds.
Oh, I could talk about that for like 6 hours with you.
I know.
Okay, so you're launching a new program in the coming weeks here. How do people find you?
So right now I am on the interweb at www.melaniedonyoga.com. And then you can also chat with me readily on Instagram. I answer DMs all the time. I love talking, comments, all that stuff at the Melanie Dawn. I changed it. And and then on Facebook as well, friend me, Melanie Dawn, or like my business page, Melanie Dawn Yoga and Wellness, and we can be friends.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing just like a sliver of your knowledge today with everybody. And truly, guys, have a conversation with Mel, because you are not going to leave that conversation the same way that you went into it. You're going to expand so much. You just have this way about you. There's just like, so before, I have to share this quick. Before we started the podcast, I had heard of Mel. There's something that I was attracted to, and I was like, I don't know this lady. Why am I still wasn't in trust mode at all. But there was like, this lady keeps coming across my path somehow, not physically, just online. I don't know. Maybe she's really good with algorithms. Maybe she's sponsoring ads. I have no idea. I wasn't even in that place of my business yet. And then when our mutual friend Tanya connected us, and I was just like, oh, here it is again. Now I just got to go with it. Like, here these powerful, amazing women are all in my world right here. And it's just, and we want the three of us get together. We're just like, we could talk for 25 hours straight probably about all of the things in the world and all of the thought processes that happen. And I just truly appreciate you. So thank you so much for coming on today and sharing with my people.
Oh,
sharing with
that's
your
awesome.
people.
Thank you. I appreciate you and your openness and willingness to learn. I really thought we would be such a great blend.
I know. I love it too.
Yeah.